everyone, it's Sparkling. So you're at the gate, boarding pass in hand, ready for that long-awaited trip. You've got your snacks, your comfy neck pillow, you even remembered to download that new audiobook. But then, over the loudspeaker, comes the dreaded announcement. We're looking for volunteers to give up their seats. Your heart sinks, or maybe, even worse, you get to the gate and you're denied boarding. It feels like your travel plans and your sanity are about to go up in smoke. But hold on! Before you panic, did you know that in many cases you have legal rights and could be entitled to up to $1,550 in compensation? That's right, getting bumped doesn't have to mean getting burned. Let's dive into the wild world of flight bumping and make sure you know how to navigate it like a pro. Okay, so first things first, let's define flight bumping. Airlines sometimes sell more tickets than there are actual seats on the plane. It's called overbooking, based on the assumption that not everyone who books a flight will show up. But sometimes everybody does show up. And when that happens, someone's got to get left behind. There are two main types of bumping: voluntary and involuntary. Voluntary bumping is when you agree to take a later flight and hopefully score some perks. Involuntary bumping is when the airline chooses you, whether you like it or not. The good news is, you're protected by law in certain situations. The U.S. Department of Transportation has rules to protect passengers from being unfairly denied boarding. These rules lay out when an airline is required to compensate you and how much they have to pay. So if you ever find yourself facing the prospect of being bumped from a flight, remember this: you have rights. Stay informed, know your options, and you might just turn that travel hiccup into a win. Let's talk about when those DOT protections actually kick in. These rules apply to flights departing from the United States. Even if you're flying on a foreign airline, as long as you're taking off from U.S. soil, you're covered. You need to have a confirmed reservation and have checked in on time. The bumping needs to be due to overbooking. If you're bumped for safety reasons, like a mechanical issue or bad weather, the airline isn't obligated to compensate you in the same way. If you're flying on a charter flight or a private plane, the DOT rules don't apply. If you voluntarily give up your seat, you're not entitled to the same compensation. If the airline gets you to your final destination within an hour of your original arrival time, they're off the hook. There's no legal requirement for them to compensate you in this scenario. But hey, it never hurts to ask nicely, right? Alright, let's get down to the nitty-gritty cold, hard cash. When you're involuntarily bumped from a flight departing from the US, the DOT has specific guidelines for compensation. Here's the breakdown as of 2024, based on the length of the delay in getting to your final destination. If you arrive within 1 hour of your originally scheduled arrival time, you're not legally entitled to any compensation. If you're delayed between 1 and 2 hours on a domestic flight, or between 1 and 4 hours on an international flight, the airline owes you 200% of your one-way fare, up to a maximum of $775. This compensation must be paid in cash or by check. If your delay stretches beyond 2 hours for domestic flights, or beyond 4 hours for international flights, that compensation doubles to 400% of your one-way fare, up to $1,550. Again, this must be paid at the airport in cash or by check or mailed to you afterward. Airlines might try to offer you vouchers or travel credits instead of cash. Remember, you are not obligated to accept them. Insist on a check or cash. Chapter 4. The Art of the Deal, Voluntary Bumping, and How to Negotiate Like a Pro. So let's say you hear that magic phrase over the loudspeaker. We're looking for volunteers, and you're open to giving up your seat. Before you dash to the counter, there are a few things you need to know. When you volunteer to be bumped, you're waving goodbye to your right to DOT-mandated compensation. But don't despair. This is where your negotiation skills come into play. Airlines are often willing to offer perks to entice volunteers, and it's up to you to get the best deal. Common perks include flight credits or vouchers for future travel, free hotel stays, meal vouchers, priority boarding, and access to the airline's airport lounge. The key here is to be informed, be assertive, and don't be afraid to negotiate. Remember, the airline needs your seat, and they're willing to pay for it. Make sure you get the best possible deal. Chapter 5. Bumping Lingo, Decoding the Jargon. Let's decode some of the lingo you might encounter in the world of flight bumping. First up, denied boarding. It means you show up at the gate, boarding pass in hand, ready to board your flight, and the airline tells you, nope, Sorry, not happening. Overbooking is when the airline has sold more tickets than there are seats on the plane. Sometimes that gamble doesn't pay off, and that's when things get interesting. Involuntary bumping is when the airline chooses you, while voluntary bumping is when you raise your hand and say, "Take me, I'm your guy." The compensation cap refers to the DOT limits on how much an airline is required to pay you if you're involuntarily bumped. As of 2024, that cap is $1,550 for delays of more than 2 hours on domestic flights and more than 4 hours on international flights. Knowing the right terminology can help you navigate these situations with confidence. Chapter 6. Bumped. Don't panic. Your step-by-step guide to smooth sailing. Here's a step-by-step guide to handling a flight bumping situation like a pro. Step 1. Take a deep breath and stay calm. Getting angry or confrontational is unlikely to help your case. Step 2. Determine if the bumping situation is voluntary or involuntary. Ask the gate agent to clarify the reason for the overbooking and whether they are requesting volunteers. Step 3. Get it in writing. If you're involuntarily bumped, request a written statement outlining your rights, the reason for the bumping, and the compensation you're entitled to. Step 4. If it's a voluntary bumping situation, don't be afraid to negotiate. Ask about flight credits, hotel accommodations, meal vouchers, lounge access. Step 5. If you feel you've been mistreated or unfairly denied boarding, don't hesitate to file a complaint. You can do this with both the airline and the DOT. The DOT has a website specifically dedicated to air travel consumer complaints, and I'll include a link in the description below. Outrow, you've got this. Flying smarter and standing up for your rights. So there you have it, your crash course in flight bumping. Next time you hear we're looking for volunteers, don't panic. You may walk away with hundreds in your pocket. Know your rights, fly smarter, and don't be afraid to speak up. Remember, knowledge is power. And when it comes to air travel, a little bit of knowledge can go a long way toward ensuring a smoother, less stressful journey. Like, share and subscribe for more travel hacks that save you money and stress in the air.